welcome into, let's bring this down,
Sports
Tonight on
Tonight.
Atlanta News First Plus.
Here, I'm going to go ahead and take this credential off. There we go. We're ready.
We're coming
now
in
we're ready,
hot
folks.
to this Thursday edition of Sports Tonight, that's for sure. But there is a little bit of excitement in the air, Lee, and that is because...
Can we leave the collar popped?
Please?
Oh, right.
I would actually prefer that. I think
Oh,
that looks
yes.
fantastic.
Right here. Let's do this.
Collar popped because NFL football is back tonight.
NFL football's back. Oh, finally.
We've finally gotten to NFL. It is back. Thursday Night Football kicking off with the Detroit Lions visiting Kansas City. One of the biggest storylines just this week in football, not only in this game, is that Travis Kelce had a little bit of a knee injury. No one knew what it was. Was it ACL? Was it not? I think now they've decided it's this hyperextension of the knee, so he should be back, but he was ruled out for tonight's game. So it will be interesting to see how long he is out because he is a vital piece to that offense, Lee.
I just love how the NFL was like, who should we have for our season opener? We're going to have the Super Bowl champs, and then we're going to have, that's right, on the rise Lions, because we're going to put them back in their place. They thought they were doing really good. Now we're going to put them back in their place, and they got to go play the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. Awesome. Like, come on, guys. Can we give the Lions a break?
I think this game will actually be closer than everyone thinks it will be, though.
Yeah.
I think the Lions, what Dan Campbell has been able to do is amazing. He's really rallied that team. I think they have some good pieces. So I'm eager to see what they can build upon from last season.
Hey, I will say this. If you're going to play the Chiefs, this week would be the week to do it. No Chris Jones and no Travis Kelce. Come on.
Remember, it's not who you play, it's when you play them in the NFL. Another game coming up for Monday Night Football, the Bills visiting the Jets.
All right.
Yes, please.
Yes.
I am off Monday, and I want to be sitting at a bar watching that game because there's no better way to start off the season than watching Josh Allen go up against Aaron Rodgers, who's apparently so much more happy now that he's in New York playing for the Jets.
We'll see if happiness translates to wins, but yeah.
Okay, so I wrote down a couple other games.
Okay.
Just from when you hear it, tell me who you think is going to win.
Okay.
Okay? So Cincinnati, week 1, will visit Cleveland.
Cincinnati.
So, historically, the Browns own Joe Burrow. He got the best of them in one game in the time he's been in the AFC
Which is
North.
kind of crazy, right? That's kind of crazy.
But he's also coming off his injury. It's in Cleveland. Cleveland hasn't opened up at home in, I think, 3 years. So I am very interested to see how that one goes. 49ers at the Steelers.
Ooh.
I liked this one because it's in Pittsburgh.
49ers. I just don't know how good the offense is going to be for the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean,
they're always going to have a good defense, but
we're going to see what Kenny Pickett looks like, right? In year
right.
Green Bay at Chicago, and these are two very different.
I don't
teams
know.
Now.
I have no idea.
Isn't that crazy?
I have no idea
because no one knows how good Jordan Love is. I think that's the
You
problem.
know what?
Are you changing your answer?
I'll take the Packers. I'll take
Really?
the Packers.
Why? Why the change of heart?
I don't know. I just think no one has tape on Jordan Love right now, so maybe he comes out.
Are you just
does something? Well, people know what Justin Fields is for the most part right now.
Yeah.
So, there's just a wild card of Jordan Love not playing yet. So, I mean, he could run it 40 times.
Right.
I mean,
we'll see. It will be very interesting to see how they utilize him and Aaron Jones in this offense. Do they kind of do what they were doing with Aaron Rodgers, or do they try and make it more of Jordan Love's offense? I am curious to watch. And then the other one I wrote down is early little division game between Raiders at the Broncos.
Oh, I know almost nothing about the AFC West other than the Chiefs have been dominating.
And so the Raiders quarterback now is Jimmy G.
Yep, Jimmy G and
After they shipped
Russell.
Derek Carr.
So
And Russell
Jimmy G versus
Wilson,
Russell Wilson.
Which have you seen Sean Payton's comments on Russell Wilson recently?
Not recently, no.
So
no.
he said something this week basically along the lines, and I'm paraphrasing here, about how Russ needs to stop worrying about his public image and kissing babies and shaking hands and needs to get back to football.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Too.
I like that a lot.
It was funny because I was watching NFL Network and they were talking about how do you think Russell Wilson took that? And I think the reality of that is Russell's always a good teammate and someone who's going to take it on the chin and take it to heart and try and change that. But I also wonder at this point in his career if that's a little bit harder to do.
I mean, last year was an absolute
Disaster.
debacle. Like,
And
it was awful.
I don't know if you can put that all on Nathaniel Hackett.
No.
I don't.
mean, I don't
but
think Russ.
I
Dude,
think he took the fall for it, really. So
you look at some of those throws Russ was making, and dude, it was rough.
Right.
Rough.
not the
Not an
same.
NFL quarterback.
Another game we're obviously going to talk about is the Atlanta Falcons hosting Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. We spent some time out there yesterday. It was cool to just see the excitement of week one. Everyone's just ready to get out there. I think it was Jesse Bates who basically said it's like the first week of school. Everyone's getting haircuts. At this point, they've been through training camp, and they're just ready to play. I think it's interesting that they're opening with the Panthers, not only, a division rival, but also not really knowing what this offense is going to look like.
Yeah, but, well, I think we will definitely know that Bijan's going to get the ball.
Yes.
Now, past that, I don't know.
So, okay, I wanted...
Because it's a lot easier to hand the ball off than it is to complete a pass.
Before we talk about Bijan, I wanted to ask you, because we never actually talked about this yesterday.
Okay.
Did Ritter seem completely healthy to you? He looked really, really tired to me. It almost sounded a little congested in his press.
Okay. I mean, I didn't...
I
didn't
notice.
I didn't
okay,
notice
maybe
that.
I'm reading into it. He just looked tired, and I felt like he sounded a little more groggy than he probably. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into it, but it just seems like he seemed a little.
They've got a little bit of rest coming up, so.
They do. Well, okay. So, but back to your point of Bijan, I can't tell you the last time. In teams I've covered, I was this excited to see what a rookie could do in a game.
Yeah.
I so desperately want him to live up to the hype. And like so far to this point and how little he's played in the preseason and just talking to him, he has. And I think even talking to Arthur Smith, he said something the other day where he was like, I probably haven't even given him enough credit as far as just his maturity level.
Yep.
He's so much more mature. And I think that's what we've seen just talking to him. A rookie who's just genuine. He'll be honest and open, but is so
down to earth.
Yeah. It's astonishing.
It doesn't seem like he has an ego, which is unimaginable for a kid that young.
Well, and it's funny you bring that up.
He looks like a man, but I promise you, he's 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, he can't, what is he? I don't even know. He might be 20.
Yeah.
Like, to have that level of success and, like, fame already, you come in and you're the only running back drafted in the first round, and essentially they're putting their entire offense on you. I mean...
Well, and
that's a big task, and I hope he handles it well. I mean, so far, like you've just said, he's handled it with flying colors, like completely.
Such grace. And I asked Arthur Smith, you talk about Bijan and his maturity, but like, what is so surprising? And he basically brought up what you said in the sense of, going to Texas, being around Matthew McConaughey, and constantly in the spotlight. It amazes him that. He is this way.
All right, Bijan.
Yeah. It amazes him that he is this way because he's been in the spotlight and he just doesn't seem like a guy that has let it gone to his head, which is really, really, really hard to do.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see what he has. We did talk to Helms about Bryce Young because he had gone against him, and he said that he had maybe picked him off 1 or 2 times in practice, but everyone will come up and pick his brain, and he kind of gives them the 4-1-1 on Bryce Young, in which he just said more ways than not that, he's a competitor and he's an athlete.
Yeah. I mean, it is very cool to see that. 2 guys who are really good friends from the same college team, and then of course, this is how the world works, right? Week 1, you're opening it up against a guy that you've been playing the last 3 years of your life with.
And I think at this point, with what we've seen from the injury reports, it's really Jeff Okudah that remains super questionable going into this weekend. Everyone else is slowly working back in, whether that's CP. So we will see who ends up playing. The Falcons fairly healthy. Hopefully it stays that way. But we are already into some week 1 action. Moving on to some other bigger news here in Atlanta, we have to talk about the Dream a little bit. WNBA, the playoffs will get started on September 13th, and the Dream have just secured a spot in that playoff with their win over Seattle 79-68, their first preseason since 2018. That's first preseason.
First postseason.
Excuse me. Thank
You're
you.
good. Nope.
Playoff berths in 5 years. And I didn't know if you know this, Lee, but they are the second youngest squad in the league. They're young.
Behind the Aces, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they're finding success. You were telling me you've been over there a little bit, and that it is quite the atmosphere. I have yet to make it over there.
It's like a party. It really is. It's a party. Like it is so cool what they've got going down there in College Park. It highly recommend going to a game. If you haven't been, just go out there. It's easy to park, easy to get in, no hassle, and it's a party of like, I think it's like 5,000 capacity, but it is like completely energetic, like from tip off, even past when the game ends. So.
I follow them on Instagram, and that very much seems like the case. They're always posting like it's a party, and I'm like, dang, okay.
Oh yeah, I was not lying. But that's cool. That's cool for the city as a whole. I mean, and it's definitely. I mean, for the Dream, it's a big deal. It really is. I mean, when you go droughtless for 5 years in the postseason, and then you make it back, and that's cool.
Very, very cool. Okay. We also need to talk some more local news, the tennis world. We've spent time talking about Chris Eubanks. This time in the U.S. Open, we're talking about Coco Gauff and Ben Shelton in the U.S. Open. Both of them have made it to the semifinals, which is really, really cool to see. Coco Gauff, there was a point where she took some time off for mental health. Now she's back, stronger than ever. She's facing Karolina Muchova, and they've actually faced off before, and Gauff has took the victory in straight sets. She's actually the first teenager to make it to the semifinals of the U.S. Open since Serena in 2001. And I thought that was very, very, very cool to just kind of see history and see, Coco being back and dominant. I think,
doing something for the first time since 01?
01, yeah.
22 years.
And the last one who did it was probably, arguably, one of the best tennis players of all time. Yeah, that's a big deal. And you have Ben Shelton, who's unseeded in the semifinals, taking on Novak Djokovic. That's going to be a very, very, very tall task for him. But the fact he's made it this far at this point
it's really, it's incredible.
It's cool. It's very cool. Putting Atlanta back on the map. So we always love to wrap up here with the number one question of what is on your mind. But I'm going to ask you what is on your mind tonight. Are you ready?
Let's go.
So, someone asked me this earlier, and I was in the heat of working, and I didn't get time to think about it. So we will both think about this with what's on our mind.
Okay.
What is your Super Bowl prediction? What two teams?
Oh, come on now. How are we doing this at
I'm throwing you an absolute
September
curveball.
7th?
I'm throwing you an absolute curveball. Because that's what we do. That's fun. So this is what I will say. I'll start us off because I've looked at this a little bit. I think in the NFC Championship, we will get the 49ers and the Eagles.
Think so. Okay.
And I'm going to say the 49ers end up going
so
to
we
the
got a
Super Bowl from
rematch.
the NFC.
We got a rematch.
And then in the AFC, this is hard for me because I do love the Bills. I do love the Bengals.
Go ahead and say the Browns.
No, absolutely not. Obviously, the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. I mean, why would you ever go against that at this point until they prove otherwise?
Yeah.
Where I struggle is I either want to go Bills, Bengals, or Jets. And I'm actually going to go Jets.
I'm definitely not going Jets.
I know. And I feel like that is a, what's the word I'm looking for? A hot take or a hot pick? Because
I think it's trendy.
Do you think it's trendy? Because
to
I think
pick the Jets? Oh my God, yes.
I think a lot of people don't know what's going to happen with Rodgers and the success of it.
Well, nobody knows what's going to happen, but you turn on any ESPN, it's like Jets.
This is what I will say.
Guys, it's a long season.
If the Jets find any success and make it to the playoffs, it is because Aaron Rodgers is running on pure spite. and his hatred for the Packers now.
Spite and hatred can get you a long way.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not
especially in
because
professional
he loves,
sports.
It's not because he loves the Jets and he's having the most fun he's ever had and he's near the end of the career. It's because he wants to make it his life's mission to win another Super Bowl with the Jets and not the Packers. So,
I mean,
those are kind of like my final four teams with probably a Chiefs 49ers Super Bowl.
All right. I am going to go Eagles.
Okay.
I just don't know who else other than, and I don't want to pick the 49ers, but who else has shown that they can actually do anything?
Correct.
But see, they're everyone's one quarterback away from not being in the playoffs. Or one quarterback away from getting hurt and not being in the playoffs. So I don't know if I want to go San Fran. I just don't really know who else in the NFC would be.
So we'll just say coming all the way to the Super Bowl from the NFC as your Philly.
Yeah, I mean they returned basically everybody. I think they lost who's the defensive tackle, Hargraves, and that's why they have but they have Jalen Carter now, and Georgia Bulldog. So I feel like he should be able to step in pretty quick and make an impact. So I think they'll be all right on defense as long as Jalen Hurts throws. God, if he does like 80% of what he did last year, that'll be all right.
All right, so who's your AFC teams?
I think I want to go Joe Burrow.
I like that.
I think I want to go Joe Burrow.
You think it's finally the time where they crack in?
Well, didn't they?
They did it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But I'm saying,
crack in again.
I think
Yeah.
they were wildly disappointed last year.
I'm not a Josh Allen believer. Like, dude's great, and then for whatever reason, he runs into the one team in the postseason that
it's his kryptonite.
Well, but it's been like crazy endings too, like really awesome games, and he hasn't performed badly at all.
No,
it's just for whatever reason.
I think it's safe to say almost every playoff game he's been in, it's been phenomenal.
Right,
but it's just never been enough.
And it's never been his time to shine. Like for whatever reason, I don't know why.
So you're going Burrow and Chiefs?
Yeah.
And then who do you pick out of them to go to the Super Bowl? Chiefs?
Or
do you think Burrow finally tops?
Depends. Is Chris Jones playing?
As of right now, no. But
first of all, without Chris Jones, and I don't actually, you know what? I don't even know if the Chiefs are going to make it that far because Chris Jones does a lot by himself. Him, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce are basically that team. I mean, and you take one of those dudes off it, I don't know. Oh, God. Who else is even in the AFC that would have any kind of challenge?
So Bills, Jets. I mean, don't overlook the Ravens. I feel like the Ravens have a really solid squad. Lamar's finally back for the full year. And they got OBJ, who knows what they can cook up. Zay Flowers has been getting a lot of hype in training camp.
Scrap all that. I'm going Falcons. Let's go
NFC.
Falcons. Let's go Falcons.
We'll see. They're super young. Well, all right. Well, we'll have to circle back to these halfway through the season.
Yeah, because see, this is also why I don't do fantasy anymore because my year could be over at week 1.
I do fantasy and I got Justin Jefferson. Let's go.
That's cool. I would just build a whole Alabama
Lee saying
team.
Nobody cares about your fantasy team. Okay, thank you. Yep. Okay, well, we're going to wrap it up with that because Lee doesn't want to talk about fantasy. But that does it for this edition of Sports Tonight. Make sure to check in tomorrow with all the latest. Have a good night.
Bye.